basketball tournament wasn't quite over, my younger brother's high school basketball team was already celebrating. 2 minutes to the end of the game, they were up by 7 points. In fact, the coach had pulled the senior players off the court, and the junior players were playing just so that everyone could boast that they had played on the winning game. And me? I was with the other family members in the stands, cheering on what looked to be certain victory. A minute and a half before the end of the game, the coach from the opposing team calls a timeout. He talks to the referee. They both talk to the scorekeeper, and then they ask my brother's coach to come over. When both coaches returned to their respective benches, they had a grim look on their face. And the scoreboard, instead of showing my brother's team up by 7 points, they were down by 5. Apparently, the scorekeeper had been incorrectly scoring the 3-point shots as 2 points. The game changed in an instant. Junior players were pulled off the court, senior players were put back in, and for the next minute and a half, it was the most intense high school basketball you can imagine. But when that final buzzer rang, my brother's team was not able to recover. They had lost the game and the tournament. That gym was on the verge of exploding. Madam Contest Chair, honor judges, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests. When a high school basketball game ends, both teams are supposed to shake hands and say, good game, good game. This did not happen. Instead, 2 of my brother's teammates started to approach the other team, not with an outstretched hand, but with a fist back, ready to punch somebody. My brother's coach was on the court, putting himself between the team members and the opposing teams, telling his players to go to the change room. Go right now. They had 3 minutes to change. They were not allowed to speak to each other, not a single word. Go! What those family members, the coach, all knew what was going through the mind of each and every one of those angry adolescent boys. They were all thinking, this is unfair. If this game had been scored correctly, we would have had a different strategy. We wouldn't have been playing those junior players. Besides, if they screwed up on this, what else have they been screwing up on? No, asking these boys to shake hands right now would have been a disaster. All it would have taken is one kid to take a swipe at the other team. Then it would be teammate defending teammate, and all-out brawl would have broken out. The fact that it wasn't the other team's fault wouldn't have calmed anyone down. These guys were not thinking straight. Worse, what if this was all caught on a cell phone camera? It's put on YouTube, the media picks it up. This entire weekend would have been defined by this post-tournament brawl. No, the coach, us family members, we were not going to let all the hard work that those kids had put in the entire weekend be undone because one kid takes a swipe at another kid. We were not going to let them do something they were going to regret for the rest of their lives. So after sending those kids to the change room, the coach came over and talked to the family members and explained what his plan was. He said that the tournament trophy was not going to be awarded that day, that it was going to be brought to the attention of the provincial athletic board that oversaw high school basketball, and that he wanted to talk to these students. He told us what he was going to tell these kids, and we listened, and we agreed with his plan. So that's what happened. After the kids had changed, family members, coach, the kids all went to the high school hallway and sat down. And the coach started to talk to them about what happened that weekend. He explained that just because they were angry and upset is not a justification for breaking out into a fight. I remember looking at those kids and saying, it's hard to accept the fact that because of somebody else's error, we may have lost this game and tournament. We don't know for sure if this outcome would have been different if this game had been scored correctly, and that's something we'll never be able to determine. In sports, as in life, mistakes happen. It's how you react after a mistake that determines what kind of person you really are. And then the coach, the family members, we reassured these boys that we were proud of them, proud of how they behaved this weekend, both on the court and off of it. And it worked. Although we talked to those boys for 20 minutes, afterwards, They were calm. They had a sense of perspective. They didn't want to fight. In fact, they wanted to go to a good restaurant to celebrate everything that they had accomplished that weekend. You know, the best thing about this entire incident were the adults. Family members, the coaches, they all decided to put the interests of these kids first and to give them the leadership they so desperately needed at this difficult time. If a parent had decided to have a temper tantrum, if an all-out brawl had broken out, this could have been the low point of these kids' high school career. Instead, it became an opportunity to teach these kids how to react when a mistake occurs in life. And that life lesson is worth more than a tournament trophy. Madam Toastmaster.